Live long and prosper, guys. I am Captain Foley from Trekyards. How are you all doing?
It's a very
this
gentle
evening?
intro, isn't it, Stuart?
Or today? It is. It's a very logical intro.
The new Spock, the sort of new Spock, although the in-between Spock is between Cage and TOS Spock, so it's kind of like a new but old, but in between, but retcon, but also additional. I think we're talking Spock.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Spock. See our opinions on how Ethan Peck did as Spock. I got to say, from the trailers, I wasn't sure what to expect because we didn't get a real feel for Spock in the trailers. We got the quiet, not saying much Spock. However, after having seen the video and having him have his logic restored by the Telosians, spoilers, or his
mind at least,
his sense of time.
Yeah.
He even said it's time is the one anchor I've had in my life, and that was taken from me. So that's why he went a little bit loopy. But I think he did a fantastic job as Spock. Very stoic. Like at the end, he very much came off as I dare say, a better Spock than Zachary Quinto. Zachary Quinto's always kind of appeared like a caricature of Spock to me, almost like a parody version, because he's so emotional all the time in those movies. And he just kind of has a cartoonish look. This Spock, I got to see him without his beard, first of all. That'd be fantastic. But I'm really, really digging the new Spock, personally. That's my thought.
Yeah, it's funny with all the promotional material. They like doing stuff that's sort of the correct but their own thing, and so you would assume that next episode, Discovery, episode 9, I guess.
Yes.
That he would shave his beard because now he's back on the starship. He's back, sort of doing his job. It would take him less than 10 minutes, maybe more with that bigger beard, and back in some sort of uniform. But I guarantee he won't be because they want him to look different, and he's doing all posters that way. Although I think definitely at the end of the season we'll see we know there's an Enterprise bridge. We'll see Pike and Number One and the original crew on the new Enterprise bridge, all in uniform, shave Spock, and give us like a fun visual to end on. I think that'll be something we see. Kind of got to. Be weird if they didn't do it. But I think as Spock, he's good. He's good. I mean, I like the actor anyway. I thought he was a relatively good choice. It was all about then what he was given. Quinto, I think, looked like a good Spock visually. Slightly more like Nimoy than Peck does, but that isn't the definer of a character. It should be the acting, the story, the way it's done. But Quinto's, he was given weirdly strong, emotional lines and emotional backing. There's some good stuff, but it's surrounded by all this weird stuff that you only really can say because he's young, and it's like, well, he's not that young.
Yeah. Well, the good thing about Quinto is he got a chance to hang out and sit down with Leonard Nimoy and kind of talk about the character and really kind of get from the mouth of the man himself. So, and it does come off. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Quinto's a bad Spock. Those movies are pretty well cast. He wasn't written great, and he was a little emotional in each of the movies. Beyond was probably the best one for that, without having that. Because he logically breaks up with Uhura, even though Uhura broke up with him, and that's one of the reasons I like Beyond the best, because Spock doesn't flip out. So, but
so in terms of this greater sense of how many Spocks we've had, this is now the third major Spock, and I think he's been given some good stuff. Although again, he's coming at it from a different place because he is been broken down as a character. He isn't TOS Spock. He isn't young Spock. He isn't whoever, whatever. He is a slightly more unique Spock of while the Telosians gave him his anchor to reality back, he did say his logical stuff has been broken away, and his emotions are wonky as well. So it's kind of like he's had to rebuild what it means to be him from the ground up, and that gives him a lot of freedom with what he can and can't do. And obviously, you won't just suddenly grin every 5 seconds because you don't have the same logical training, because you still remember it. Yeah, you just can't necessarily instinctively use it in the same way. So it's not like he would suddenly be this emotional weird character. He would just be more prone to the extremes without thinking about it. And so that was, I thought, a fun payoff with your spoiling. I guess I am. But the rest of it is being professional and good. And it depends what he's given, really. He should be presented as a good science officer that's smart and capable and has good intuition, considering he's a Vulcan, because he can use those two halves of himself. So it depends what he's given, and if he's going to be looked down upon because he's not a primary of this show, if he's going to be raised above because he's a primary of the legacy of Trek. It could go many places, but I think as a first outing it was good, and I might have had a problem with the beard because he lost his mind. I don't even think when Burnham points out the beard, I don't even think he knew he had a beard. Like, he was so out of his where he was. There's like, oh sure, I've got a beard, huh? Weird, weird for the beard.
Weird for the beard. Hashtag weird for the beard. Thank you, Commander Calkins. I want to see that on Twitter.
There you go.
Now, it'll be interesting to see how he interacts with Pike. We've really only seen him with Burnham, which is a different dynamic because of the family dynamic there. But even with her, he's been very much like at the end of that episode, it was great. The whole, I idolized you as a child. I see now that was a mistake. Things like that. So it'll be interesting to see how he deals with Pike and what his involvement with Discovery from here to the end of the season is, because the next episode's about Ariam essentially. So I'm not sure how much of a role he's going to play. It's probably going to be like a B story with him and Burnham on the ship. I don't know if he's going to be too drawn into that. It depends on how much that focuses maybe on the Red Angel. So it'll be interesting to see his dynamic with Pike and some of the other characters, because all we've really seen is him with the Telosians and Burnham. So, and I think it was pretty well done in that regard. So,
yeah, they didn't, just like the Telosians, they didn't jump ship. They didn't go beyond where they could have gone. They showed restraint. Spock, for the most part, and I didn't necessarily feel like Spock, because again, he's not that Spock yet, so he wouldn't. If he did, it'd be weird. But you could see that inside the performance. You could see that inside what he was saying. You didn't have to think. You didn't have to stretch too much. Similar in the sense that Pike doesn't feel like Pike because he's not the same Pike. He just feels like a good, strong captain that is a controlling personality and is positive and is a different version of the character because he's a different place in his life. So it'll be interesting, like I say, to see that evolve or not evolve, because now we've sort of learned everything Spock knows. Ironically, like, the Spock plot is now sort of done, in a vague sense. We've got the information, we can see it now. Is Spock now going to be important in that he's a catalyst for something else? They need the Red Angels need his mind for something, or his DNA, or da-da-da-da, or is it very much like, great, we got Spock, now we're fugitives, but that's just plot, and is it just going to be character stuff and without any like big plot stuff, or will Spock still be the the one that has to mind meld at the end of the Red Angel saying thank you? Is there going to be this grander thing? Because he is just a lieutenant. He isn't none of these characters are the most important people ever. Pike being the most because he's a captain in Starfleet, and that gives him a certain level of one of the hundreds rather than one of the thousands of lieutenants. And although first Vulcan in Starfleet, but I mean, it's also Vulcans. I mean, it's just like,
Is he the first Vulcan in Starfleet though? Because I saw Vulcan admirals. I don't know about you, but I think that's something we didn't actually notice or talk about. But there are Vulcan admirals. Damn. Or they could just be like honorary admirals. They didn't actually join Starfleet and move through the ranks. They just member world. There you go. You're an admiral. I don't
also know like one of the ships is full of Vulcans. I mean, the
Intrepid. Yeah.
Yeah, but what did you think though of him being this other Spock? Because obviously Cage Spock was different because that was his first performance, and then first few episodes were different. Like, how do you think they've paid that off, and might pay it off for him being different?
I don't think they're going to make him too much different. Like I said, at the end of that episode, he felt like TOS Spock to me. That conversation that he had on Talos with Burnham right before they left, after the flashback of what happened between the two of them, felt very much like TOS Spock to me. So I don't think they're going to go too different with the character at all. I did like the scene when he got on Discovery, and the trailer didn't do it justice. The whole "Are you smiling?" Yes. No. It's "Are you smiling?" I believe I am. Yes. Like, it was just a better cut of that scene, and it made much more sense. Because he wasn't smiling, it was more like a smirk. But I don't know. I don't think they're going to change it too much. I think that would really piss a lot of people off that already are kind of opposed to Discovery and the whole recasting of Spock. They need to keep him in line with what we see in TOS, more or less, I believe. Although adjusting to what just happened to him might cause a few character idiosyncrasies that we'll see. I don't know. I don't know. Like, what's your take on that? As far as what do you think we're going to see from him, or what?
I think they're going to use this as an excuse to have those differences, those different scenes that you otherwise wouldn't be able to have. You know, play off characters more, go with a lighter vibe. So it depends. I mean, they've given themselves a blanker slate than they needed, and we saw how weird he was in, you know, Where No Man's Gone Before, in the first scene playing chess. Like, he's all over the place.
A little bit, yeah.
But then now you look at Cage, and it's like, well, why was he more emotional in Cage? No reason.
Yeah, just the actor didn't know what was going on with the character.
Yeah.
Like, nobody did.
So they've kind of enhanced it, but at the same time now given a reason doesn't quite fit with the thing. It would have been funner if they'd said the Angels had come to him 4 years ago and was slowly changing him. That would have been a more whatever. But that's fine. Yeah, I think they'll take creative liberties. You know, you're saying about the smirk line, which is obviously the only real line we get with him and Pike. It reminds me of the "Go to Hell" line later on. But it's kind of, so he's kind of possibly being played as a later Spock that can do more human things, but as a younger Spock who will emote it more.
Yeah.
Which is not remotely where Spock was at this point, but they've deconstructed him to allow him to do that. So I think they're going to, you know, give him more, even if it doesn't quite work. Obviously, if this show got, you know, 7 seasons, we'd be literally up to TOS, and if they allowed Spock to be a major character for 7 seasons, never going to happen, shouldn't happen. Obviously, you could make this, you know, a show arc of him slowly regaining his logic, although that's really just saying the actor has to slowly be less and less and less emotive. Isn't exactly the best sell for an actor. But I will reiterate one more time that on the red carpet, Ethan Peck, before we'd even seen the first episode, him knowing, you know, he's in quite late to the game, said, "At the start of my performance, I looked at Nimoy, but by the end of my time on the show, I stopped looking back and I was doing my own thing because it's about the character, not the Nimoy performance. And so now he's only got, you know, 6 episodes anyway of time, 7 episodes. Yep. There isn't that much time that he's going to be Nimoy before he's doing his own thing. So I think we're going to see that change quite quickly because he's not in much, relatively speaking."
Yeah. Now, what did you think about the final scene? You think it was very Spock-like, to the goodbye Spock? Well, not the final scene, but goodbye Spock with the.
Well, I don't see Nimoy doing that, but it's a great moment.
Yeah.
You know, Nimoy would say, "Why would Spock say this?" And they're like, "Just do it. It's funny." And he's like, "Oh, okay." Like it would work if Shatner and him was doing it in a slightly different context, but of course the fact that he doesn't like his sister still, you know, the fact that he's, you know. So it's funny, but it's a little bit too far.
I thought it was.
Again, it's like Star Trek for him, where he's had that creative, you know, freedom in his mind, where he would just say things 'cause.
Yeah.
But then again, he's a bit broken. So it's great, but it's kind of a meta thing of like, oh, is he going to say that? Oh, he does. Huh. Cool. You know. Yeah, it's fun. But we'll see if he's still anti-Burnham by next episode, if he forgives her straight away.
I know he lays a smackdown on her at some point. We've seen that in the trailer. Like you can't fix everything, Burnham, something like that. You know, why do you always take the responsibility? But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. So,
but yeah, good choice, good casting, good so far. Can only get better or worse, which is often how things go. It's on the stories, it's on the script, and it's on the payoffs, because this season is still in that build. Now we know there are, although revealed in early trailers, but galactic consequences. Is the payoff going to be incredible? Is time travel going to be paid off well? That will determine if the season's good or not. We're not there yet, and we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, what did you think about the new Spock? Did he do a good job? I personally think so. So put your comments down below and let us know your feelings on that. And as always, guys, like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all the logical things, click that notification icon. And there's a bunch of links in that description down there. I do see them. So go ahead and click those. You can pick up some cool Trekyards merch and a whole bunch of other cool stuff. So, yeah.
And of course, share the free way. Buying a shirt is great, but also just sharing any of these videos, anything people enjoy them is great, or more directly support buy a shirt or that Patreon support, because it's something we rely on very heavily as a backbone of what we do each and every month. A little bit can make a big difference, or a one-time donation at trekyards.com, or join us for our pretty continuous weekly lives. We love talking to you guys, our community. It's a great group of people, and you can support us directly, which again allows what we do to keep going and grow and do more. And boy, there's so many great Trek things coming out in the next couple of years, so we definitely want to stay around, but we cannot do that without you guys. So thanks in advance.
That's right. So until next time, guys, say goodbye, Samuel.
Bye, Samuel.